If we could come to quiet, please. We have a quorum. Could we please have the roll call? Mr. Chief Deputy City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Sticks.
Here.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Rule.
Here.
Councilmember Lang.
Here.
Councilmember Francina.
Here. Thank you very much. And welcome everyone to the November 19th, 2024 special meeting of the Ojai City Council. Could we please have the pledge?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
Welcome, community. Honorable Mayor and Council, please rise as you are able. Our flag is in the back of the room here. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How great it is to have all those young voices in the room. Could we have, we'll approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. And just in terms of the process, we're going to have a presentation from our city manager and our city attorney. Then we'll take questions from council, and then we will move on to public comment. So thank you all
Mayor?
for being here. Yes.
Actually, if I could,
Yes.
we're going to have a presentation from the Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group once the council questions are finished. Council will then ask if they have any questions of the parents group, they will ask them that. Then we'll have public comment. Then it'll come back to council for discussion.
Thank you very much. So we'll begin with our city manager. And if I could ask everyone here, we are very grateful that you're here and thankful. If you could refrain, though, from clapping, you can always show your support by using jazz hands. Snapping is always great. That'd be wonderful. And just a reminder that we're all here because we love our community. We love Ojai. We love our children. We want to support each other. And let's just remember that we are all on the same team. So let's focus on policy versus personality and move forward from there. So, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to just assume that the council and most people here have read the staff report, so I just have some brief comments this evening. First of all, I want to thank the gymnastics community. I want to thank the general public, and I want to thank the council for the patience as we brought this discussion forward. I do appreciate that. I want to acknowledge that this has been a learning experience for the city. I appreciate the patience and consideration of the gymnastics community as we have sorted things out. It was not our intention to cause any undue stress or anxiety, but we do understand that some was caused, and for that we apologize. We are only making a few recommendations this evening, as you know, one related to the competitive component of the program, one related to fundraising, and one to ensure that we have a document that outlines the program and roles, responsibilities going forward. Once I'm finished going through my list, I'm going to ask the city attorney to expound upon some of the city's liability concerns with some recommended solutions. Again, with the understanding that everyone has read the staff report, I do want to point out an error that I'm aware of, and there could be others, but I'm aware of one in attachment 2. I'll draw your attention to row 3, percentage of recreation department budget. The number that we have in the report is 23. The actual number should be 18.86. The number 23% was derived from using the actual expenditures in fiscal year 23-24, if you're wondering how we got that. But the actual number, based upon the math provided, should be 18.86. We've already talked about the flow this evening. Mr. City Attorney, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the liability concerns?
Yeah, briefly. So again, thanks everyone. This is great to see so much of the community here as we can find the right solutions on this one. So the city has some liability concerns with the prior program operations, and I'm going to note those concerns and then note some solutions in a couple of levels of solutions. So first up is on the travel program. There are potential liability and insurance coverage concerns the city has with city staff and program participants traveling out of the city and out of state. Sometimes in city vehicles, sometimes not, always traveling. Those concerns stem from the fact that the city cannot control the risk nor ensure proper maintenance for facilities that are not in the city's control. The events are occurring in other places. We're not maintaining that equipment. We're not maintaining those facilities, yet we're at some risk for facilities we're not maintaining. That creates some risk. so too does travel via city vehicles. For all of these, the concern is both liability and insurance. I recognize that there's a USA Gymnastics insurance program, and that, from what I understand, covers the participants and perhaps USA Gymnastics. Not yet, to my knowledge, has the city been named as an additional insured on any of the USA Gymnastics insurance. So it's not clear that it would cover the city. The city also would have to confer with its own insurance carriers to see if we are covered. So the liability concerns are present, inherent in the nature of the travel program. Some solutions. As discussed in the staff report and the recommendation, the council can eliminate these risks entirely by dropping support for the travel program. Or, as another option, reduce these risks by adding additional waiver requirements for participants who are traveling and additional insurance requirements that would be both securing an additional insured status under the USA Gymnastics insurance, if that's achievable through USA Gymnastics, and the city buying more robust insurance for the city. And then allowing the staff to flex their schedules for the private travel, if it's a private travel arrangement. If not, then again, securing robust insurance for the city if city vehicles are being used, or allow the travel as part of the program but block city vehicle usage. Second liability concern that we've had is, as again noted in the staff report, fundraising. There is some risk of a gift of public funds challenge or misuse of public resources challenge if city land, staff time, or city resources are used for private fundraising. I'll note that previously these concerns were more significant because we had a dearth of records, we had uncertain records as to whether or not the funds that had been claimed as donated had actually been paid to the city. I will note that new information has come to light that has corrected that aspect, and we apologize for the information that was incomplete or inaccurate, and now that has been corrected. So I understand now that, for example, the leotards donations, those funds did come into the city. So that concern that was present before has been mitigated, which is helpful. But still the concerns remain regarding staff time and city facilities use for fundraising for a private foundation. That risk is eliminated if fundraising does not happen at city facilities or on city time. If the council wants to reduce but not eliminate the risk, then we would set clear rules regarding what kinds of fundraising are allowed and when they're allowed, so that it's very clear when staff are working for the city and when they're supporting a private facility and what level of support is allowed, with clear requirements set up front. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Summers. So now at this point, we'd like to turn it over to the council if there are questions about what was said or the staff report itself, or if it's a pleasure of the council, we can go right to the Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group and their presentation.
Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Go ahead.
So, Matt, you're talking about city risk, and it's not, I mean, I am assuming it's not limited to a travel program. There's risk associated with injuries happening during gymnastics programs.
Yeah, no, there's risk associated with the gymnastics programs at city facilities too.
Yeah, and so is the risk of a participant claiming that the injury was caused by the negligence of the supervising staff covered by our group, pool risk program?
Yes, if it's at a city facility.
Okay. And is there a limit on that?
Yeah, as I say, it's what, $150,000 limit. We have some excess coverage that would kick in depending on the circumstances.
$150,000?
That's our default limit per participant. We have some excess, per claim, per participant. We have some excess coverage that would kick in depending on the exact facts of the case.
And what is that coverage?
That could be, I don't have the exact number on
I mean,
that.
in terms of what, how, I mean,
We don't have, we're talking straight hypotheticals right now. I don't
Yeah.
have an exact coverage amount because we don't have exact facts to test against the coverage situation. We have secured coverage in the low millions in the past, but it's a matter of what would be the facts
Yes.
and how they would match against the coverage levels.
And then, is it true that if the damages associated with an injury was greater than our insurance coverage, then there's no obligation to accept the amount insurance offers, and then they come after city funds.
Right, exactly. If a plaintiff was unhappy with the level that the insurer offered, they could refuse that offer, that settlement, and then litigate, and then the general fund's at risk. And that's the liability risk we've identified.
Okay.
I have a quick follow-up. Francina, and then Councilmember.
Can you explain or, clarify what is the difference between fundraising on school property and city property and a nonprofit and a booster club? Because, for example, my little granddaughters go to gymnastics, and they have a little rack where they sell used leotards, and for very small, and that's the sort of thing we want to encourage. It's recycling and reusing clothing, and it seems to me that there all kinds of fundraising takes place on school property. And so what's it? And is it? Does this have anything to do with the fact that is there a difference if they were a booster club for a nonprofit, or can they be both, or how does that work?
So generally, the risk is if an outside challenger contended that the fundraising that supports a relatively small group as opposed to a broader group, or supported a nonprofit, or supported a parents group of uncertain nonprofit status, was a gift of public funds. I'm not sure what, the school districts certainly have parent clubs, booster clubs. That's fairly common. Sometimes they're raising money on city property or school property. Sometimes
Yes.
they're doing it not at school property. That varies. Here, of course, it appears that it is at the city property. And so the risk is, does someone contend that that's a gift of public funds to have city staff time spent on that fundraising, or the city land or facility allocated to that purpose?
Okay, so is the issue staff time versus volunteer time?
It's two issues. One is the staff time being used to run the fundraising program, and two is the fundraising program on city property itself. And as noted, eliminating the risk entirely would be preventing fundraising on city property. If that's too far for the council, then the risk could be reduced by setting some clear limits on how much staff time is spent fundraising, and clear lines on where any money raised goes and how that money is spent. So sort of documenting best practices.
Okay, I will mull that over. Thank you.
Councilmember Rule.
Yeah, a couple of follow-ups to Mayor Pro Tem Whitman's comment on insurance. How is this any different than any other, athletic program that is sponsored by or through the rec department? All of them have the same risk. I mean, so I guess I'm confused about that, how this is differentiated by gymnastics. So that would be my first question. How is gymnastics different than football or, basketball or whatever other sport that, kids do play? That would be my first question. And then if you want to answer that one, and then I also had a comment for on Councilmember Francina's question about, staff and fundraising, because I think that is to work this so that staff doesn't have to be responsible for fundraising. There's a very robust group of volunteers who could probably handle that. And then if there are best practices and or software that would allow this to happen almost automatically, where the money would, it would be documented electronically, just like your bank account, So I'm thinking that there's probably a solution to that we can discuss. But I am curious to speak to why we would be pulling out a gymnastics program as offering more liability than any other program.
Yeah, I can speak to those points. So on the liability concerns, the higher risk that we see is inherent in the travel program because the city does not control those facilities.
Right.
Gymnastics is, I think one would agree, an inherently risky activity, and that risk is higher in facilities or could be higher in facilities that the city doesn't maintain, doesn't control, We don't know how well they've been maintained. We don't know anything about the equipment and its maintenance schedule. That's a risk we can't control. There is still a risk even at city facilities, and that risk is similar to any other inherently dangerous recreational activity. So there's that distinction between the at city facilities versus outside.
Yeah, and I was pointing to at city facilities because I think that there are processes and or best practices that we could potentially investigate for travel, because I realize that we're not the only recreation department in California that sponsors competitive gymnastics travel. So there are models that we can adopt and strengthen our sort of oversight and also, liability. We can buy more insurance. We can figure out a way to get some money to buy more insurance potentially. Anyway, those were my questions, but I did want to just mention that I was speaking when I asked that question specifically about in-city recreational activities. So thank you.
Any other questions from Councilmember Lang?
I did. I just had a couple of follow-up questions to the fundraising conversation, because it's my understanding that the nonprofit organization that we're looking at is sort of it's like akin to a PTA, where it wouldn't exist if it weren't for gymnastics. And gymnastics is a city-run program, so it feels. What's the difference between having the fundraising? It just seems to me that there. I just want some clarification on the nature of the nonprofit as it relates to their ability to sell or to do fundraising for a city program.
Right. So this is one where the facts have evolved as we've gone through this process. I think at the beginning there were significant concerns that it wasn't clear where the money was going that may have been raised by selling leotards and other equipment, and it wasn't clear where any of the money was flowing. We don't have all the information, but I think we have more information than we had before, including that there was money coming from the leotard sales into the city system through ActiveNet, which is helpful to know that, okay, that did come back to the city to reimburse the city for the materials costs. And as to the other fundraising components, the parents group, the nonprofit that they've created, can function as a booster group. It's just a matter of we would need council support to continue fundraising at the city facility, but as noted, under some best practices, rules, and regulations. I think before it had been operated without council direction, without council oversight, and without clear delineation of those rules, regulations, or responsibilities.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I think this one's probably for Mr. Davis, but what other programs, recreation programs, do we have where we supply staff to be the coach of that sport?
We don't have any other programs where we supply staff to be the coach of a club where they would go off to another facility outside of Ojai.
What about in the city itself, for like basketball or youth soccer, or do we provide any coaches for any of those sports?
We don't provide any coaches for any other sports. We have class instructors, but we do not have any other paid coaches for any other sports.
I have a question for the city manager. There's been some confusion or questions about the role of commissions, generally speaking. And could you explain how this function, the process in terms of what a commission would be focusing on versus what our staff focuses on?
Sure. So I think the question is you're asking about, if there was a fully constituted recreation commission, and would this have been something that they would have discovered or been brought before them? I would argue no. The city has advisory boards. They don't direct staff. They don't launch inquiries. They don't conduct investigations. They're policy advisors, much like the council is. We're here tonight discussing this topic because you have a new city manager and you have a new recreation manager, and we encountered some things that in our mind at first seemed to be irregularities, and the process evolved. But this would not have been something that, would have been discovered, if you will, had you had a recreation commission. We put together agendas for the advisory boards just like we do the Arts Commission, the Planning Commission, et cetera.
Thank you. So moving forward, the commission could do a needs assessment.
Absolutely,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
That would be great. In fact, we would love for that once it's constituted. And just, I know I'm off topic a little bit, but you will have an item, hopefully on your December 10th meeting, to fill that commission. I know that you all are working on that, and yeah, that would be one of the first things we would want to bring is a needs assessment that involved, a community survey as part of that.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
from-
Yeah. Can I
Councilmember?
follow up? Just to be clear, you said you have class instructors, but no other coaches. But, so my understanding is that all the other sports have volunteer coaches, but class instructors can also function as coaches. I mean, I see the gymnastic they're both class instructors and coaches, aren't they?
I would make the differentiate.
Uh-huh.
Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. I would make the differentiation when the gymnastics staff are out in our gym, they're gymnastics instructors. When they go off site, they are gymnastics coaches. So
Okay.
that's the difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rule?
Yeah, and I'd like to get to the the parents' PowerPoint as soon as possible, but I just wanted to just kind of confirm that, the Park and Recs Commission is different really than any other commission because we actually have a Park and Recs director. So, whereas we don't actually have. So I think that needs to, my only point being is that I think that needs to be sort of also figured out, like what is the role of the Park and Recs Commission? Because I get this sense that some people believe that they have oversight over the Park and Recs manager,
Okay.
which I don't think that they do. And so I just want to put that out there that is a conversation to be had so that everyone understands the roles of each, because I think there has been some confusion as to what those roles are. So that's my only comment, and we're ready to go. Thank you.
Okay, any final questions? All right, we will have our presentation from the Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Club. Thank you very much. And this is a 10-minute presentation, so everyone sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Here.
City Council members, thank you so much for having us here tonight. Thank you for giving us a presentation spot to speak and for scheduling this special meeting so that we could come talk to you tonight. And also thank you to those of you that met with us this week. We really appreciated those meetings. They were very heartening and inspiring and made us feel really good. So thank you for that. First slide just shows a picture of our children at one of our annual exhibitions, and just shows that we have a pretty big group of kids that benefit from this program. How do I do next slide? These are just a few definitions. I think there has been some confusion about what these different entities are, so we just wanted to lay it out there. Ojai Valley Gymnastics is just what we call the city recreation department gymnastics program. And we wanted to call it Ojai Valley Gymnastics because it really is a reflection of the valley and not just the city of Ojai. USA Gymnastics is the national governing body for gymnastics in the United States. It offers training, classes, makes sure that the coaches that we are using are up to date with all the best practices. Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group, that's me and these two ladies here are our board members. We are a parent-led group that was founded in 2003. In 2004, we became a 501c3, and our sole purpose is to support the gymnastics program. Next slide. So just a little history of Ojai Valley Gymnastics. Began over 45 years ago and then moved into the Martin Gym sometime in the 1980s when it was built. In 1999, the name was changed from Ojai Arrows to Ojai Valley Gymnastics, which it has been since then. And we offer programming at the rec department that's not available anywhere else in the valley. The closest option for any other kid would be to drive to Ventura, which can be cost prohibitive and cause some equity issues with those that can't get down to Ventura. Next slide. You already talked about this a little bit, but the role of USAG for our city coaching staff, they're required to have membership with USAG to coach at sanctioned events. They get annual safety and risk management training, and they require background checks and safety certifications. So, we know that the coaches that are coaching our kids and taking our kids to sanctioned events have been vetted. We also have requirements for the competitive team members. They also are required to be members of USAG. They have some insurance coverage through that at the USAG sanctioned events, which all of our events that we attend are USAG sanctioned events. And they also offer gymnastics related educational programs and courses. Next slide. This is just a little overview of our current program offerings. Next slide. So this is Tiny Tots. It's a partner class that's designed for our youngest gymnasts. They can start at age 2. It introduces the children to the equipment, helps build coordination, strength, motor skills, and some social skills. They play games, they interact with other children, and there's not a whole lot of things in this valley that parents with 2-year-olds can do. So this is one of the best. Next slide. Kinder Gym is the next step up. Did I forget to state on the last slide that there's 49 enrolled in that class right now with 9 on a wait list. Kinder Gym, current enrollment right now, 78 kids. It's 6 on the wait list. This is for kids 4 to 6. They learn basic gymnastic skills through play, and they learn all the beginning skills on balance beam, vault, tumbling, and bar. So I think it's been a little confusing that those pieces of equipment are only for our competitive team, but we've got 4-year-olds on those things safely. Next slide. This is the STARS program, which is the next level up, starts at age 7 and goes until 17. It's a progressive program that is based on USAG skills and standards. It helps provide foundation for the children to acquire and improve their gymnastics abilities. Next slide. Within the STARS program, we have several categories. The first one is called the Movie Stars, and it is for basically we took the USAG level 1 and broke it down into a little bit of a smaller chunk so that these kids could build more firmly their foundations before moving on to level 1. So we call this level 00. Right now we have 82 kids enrolled in this class, and because of the high number of kids we have registered, we have classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. for this group of kids. Next slide. Rock Stars is our level 0. That's just a picture of one of the rock stars doing their thing at our exhibition. Next slide. Superstars. This is where they start at USAG level 1. And then go ahead, next slide. All Stars is also called our pre-team. It's just the step right before the girls can compete. And this is our USAG level 2 girls. Next slide. Children. I keep saying girls, please. I apologize. There are boys too. Team. Team is our USAG level 3. They start at level 3 and they can go all the way up to level 8. Right now, because of COVID, we had a significant loss in the number of students that were on the team. Before COVID, we had about 24. And right now we have one. So because of that, the rock stars, superstars, all stars, and team are all sharing gym time to consolidate and make the best use of the gym. And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 5 to 7:30. There's 14 kids in that class right now. Next slide. These are the other classes that Ojai Recreation Department offers. Adult gymnastics currently has 5 enrolled. Open gym is just basically what it sounds like. You can come, you can work on whatever skill you feel like you want to improve on with guidance from staff. Tumbling is geared a lot towards like kids that want to do cheerleading. It's mostly floor, and that enrollment is at 17 with 3 on the wait list. We have also in the past had people book the gym for gymnastics birthday parties, which is super fun, where they just play games and are guided by coaches. Kids night out, similar to the rec center movie nights, where you can drop your kiddo off for 3 hours. 3 hours. Right? And then gymnastics camp in the summer, week-long half-day camp. It's always well attended and fun. Next slide. So this is just a little introduction to some of the staff at the recreation department that has historically been involved in gymnastics. On the left, you'll see Vicky. She's right back over there. She's been an Ojai resident her whole life and has spent 33 years as a city employee, 35 years coaching gymnastics. She volunteered for 2 years before she became hired, and 33 years as a USAG professional member. And then we have Stacy. She has been a resident for her whole life. She was a former Ojai Rec Department gymnastics state champion, 31 years as a city employee, 32 years coaching gymnastics, 1 year a volunteer before, and 28 years as a professional member of USAG. Now, I do want to point out really quick, it's not on the slides, but these are our most experienced coaches, and they, in the past year, have not been able to spend as much time as they used to in the gym with our kids. And it's really unfortunate because they have the most experience and the most knowledge, and they're going to be the safest people to have in there. Right now, most of their time is spent outside of the gym. Next slide. Okay, then there's us, the parents group. We started in 2003. I already said that. We just want to support the Ojai Recreation Department. We raise donations through, like Souza said, the used leotard sales, the t-shirts and sweatshirts that you see everybody wearing. We've done Seas Candy. We've done popcorn. We used to do a cartwheel-a-thon where the kids had to see how many cartwheels they could do in a minute and get pledges for that. And then our biggest one is the Michelle Palza, Katie Edwards exhibition, which is an annual event that brings in a huge crowd. All the money that we've raised has gone to purchasing equipment for the gymnastics program, or to scholarships for gymnastics camp, and offsetting some of the expenses that coaches incur at meets, because unfortunately their expenses are not always covered by the city. There are no membership fees to be eligible to be part of this program. You just have to be registered for gymnastics. Next slide. Why is gymnastics important? Well, the mission of Ojai Valley Gymnastics stated is to facilitate the development of good sportsmanship, confidence, and self-esteem by providing an enjoyable gymnastics experience at both recreational and competitive levels. And I want to just take a moment to talk about the recreational and competitive levels. We have both, and they're not separate. They're together. The kids that want to compete can compete, and nobody is required to compete. So yes, you can talk about them differently, but really they're all part of the same class. So gymnastics builds full body strength, balance, coordination, confidence, helps kids set goals, engages both sides of the brain, involves critical thinking, and it's super fun. You're going to hear from a lot of these kids tonight. Next slide. It's also a cornerstone of our community. with as long as it's been around. We've done booths and demonstrations at Ojai Day. We've marched in the Independence Day Parade. We do demonstrations at the Rec Department Annual Open House. And I already talked about the annual exhibition, started in 1978 and has been broadcast on local TV. Also, our kids can receive junior high and high school PE credit for being involved in this program at the competitive level. Next slide. So specifically what's special about Ojai Valley Gymnastics, because it is different than a lot of these other gyms. Our gymnasts have reached regional championships in this program, which is run at a fraction of the cost of a private gym and requires less intensive training with the same results, or better. These kids train 7.5-ish hours a week. Some private gyms ask for 10, 15, 20 hours a week to be on a competitive team, and they're much more expensive. So this is a really important asset for our community. And unlike many private gyms, we have really focused on creating a body positive and supportive environment for these kids to grow up in. Next slide. After reading through the staff report, I did need to add a few slides of rebuttal. If you have the staff report in front of you, it's the first one is on page 1-1. It is misleading to characterize the gymnastics program as having two components. I talked about that a little bit already, but all kids register through the city, whether they're on team or movie stars or kinder gym. At the level of team, they're required to attend 3 days a week, and this is because of safety. They have to have a certain number of hours training to go and compete so that we know that they have the skills, they have the strength to be safe in a competition. No child is required to compete, but there is not now, nor has there ever been, a travel gymnastics program. It's not like travel basketball or club soccer. It's still all run through the rec department. The meets that we attend, in the report it says that they are usually sanctioned, but no, they are always sanctioned so that they meet the stringent safety requirements of USAG. Next slide. If you look at page 1-3, in paragraph 1, it says city vehicles are rarely, I say city vehicles are rarely used by gymnastics staff to drive to competitions. And when they are used, it is only with approval from a supervisor. Gymnasts are not transported in city vehicles. Additionally, city vehicles are used to transport children and seniors in other programs to a variety of locations, both inside and outside the city limits. So even if we were to transport kids in city vehicles to meets, it wouldn't be any different than taking the van full of kids to the beach or the Santa Barbara Zoo like we do in the summers. Paragraph 4, you will see that the statements about the liability risk. Well, there's liability risk in all recreation department activities. And as all meets are USAG sanctioned, gymnasts and coaches are covered by USAG insurance while at those events. So it kind of goes back to Leslie's question, why is gymnastics being separated out as the liability risk? Paragraph 6 talks about negligence of staff. And again, I don't feel like this is specific to gymnastics. This could be true in any programming. Next slide. Page 1-4, you will see that paragraphs 1 and 2 about mitigating potential misuse of city funds and resources. The coaches receive no personal or political gain from representing our kids at meets. The fundraising efforts in the gym by our parents group do not personally benefit anyone other than the city of Ojai and the participants of the gymnastics program. In paragraph 3, you'll see the use of city funds, use of city facilities, for public benefit. Well, then it would benefit the public to allow us to continue fundraising. In 20 plus years, this has never been an issue for us to fundraise in the gym because all of the money just goes right back to the city. I'll leave it at that. Paragraph 4, city staff time. And I think both of you addressed this a little bit, but the time that our city employees would have spent facilitating fundraisers is negligible. It's comparable to time that a teacher spends talking about going home and selling See's candy for your family to raise money for the school, or a readathon, or any of that. The relationship between the city and Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group has always been beneficial to the city. Next slide. On attachment 1, you'll see that it says there are, sorry, can I see that? I forgot to grab that. 38 separate offerings. We don't know where this number came from. There are 10 program offerings, some of which run at the same time and don't require extra gym time. There are, it says in the staff report that the classes are 4 months in duration. They are 8 weeks in duration and repeat every 8 weeks. It says that there are 16 competitive level classes and 20 recreational level classes. There are 6 recreational level classes and 1 competitive level class. And then the percentage use of, it says Boyd Center, but I think they meant Martin Gym, is misleading. We share the gym with programs, with any other programs whenever they ask to use it. Next slide. This is a video, you can, if someone can press play on it, that shows our kids breaking down all the gym equipment at the end of their session so that they could accommodate another program in the gym.
That's what I always understood.
These are 8, 9, 10-year-old girls that love helping. It's moving so fast, but you can't see while they were doing this. They were all doing cartwheels and handstands, and they had a lot of fun. And they do this during basketball season every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to accommodate basketball. Next slide. Okay, now on to attachments 2 and 3. I apologize, I know I'm taking more time. We would like to request to see where the $235,000 number comes from on attachment 2. Yeah, attachment 2. Because we can't figure out how that makes any sense, given that there are no full-time staff dedicated to gymnastics. There are multiple part-time staff that work in gymnastics, but they also work in day programs, summer camps. They work at some of the events that the rec center has, movie nights. So we're really confused about where this high cost number is coming from. And then on attachment 3, they list all the other city programs. And first of all, I mean, these offerings are pretty sad. So the fact that we have a 5-day-a-week program is awesome and could be a draw for kids into our community, right? I know people that drove up from Ventura to come to this program, even though there is a program in Ventura. And there's also an error in that Gold Coast Gymnastics is listed on this, but it's not a city-run program. It's a private gym run for profit. Next slide. This is just a list of a few of the other city-led gymnastics programs that we've contacted. They all have competitive teams. They all use a waiver for liability. And Vacaville is the only one on there that is slowly building their competitive team back like we are after COVID. And yeah, that's it. Next slide. So this is what we would like from you. We would like the current programming to remain untouched. We would love our most seasoned coaches back in the gym. That's Stacy and Vicky. We want to be able to use our name, Ojai Valley Gymnastics, and allow our coaches that are working to wear their coach shirts while working with gymnasts. Stand up, Noah. Show them your coach shirt. The coaches were told they could not wear these in the gym anymore. And then we would also very much like to retain a beneficial relationship with Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group and the city, and restore our fundraising efforts in the gym and the community. Because without being able to raise funds in the gym, our hands are pretty tied. There's not a lot we can do to help raise money for this program. Next slide. The end.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jesse. We really appreciate your time and attention to detail. And right now we will take questions from council. Any questions?
Well, can we start by,
The council can take question, if there's any questions for the parents group rep, that would be in order, and then public comment generally.
Any questions?
so you'll answer the question that she had about the 235,000 later?
I'm going to defer the number
Yeah,
on that one to
I
the
can
manager.
answer that.
Okay. Well, do you want to have him answer it or? leave
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
time for questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a disagreement about, we base that number on 2 full-time employees and the part-time employees and their salaries and benefits and overhead that we pay to support those functions. And that's how we arrived at that number. And we can certainly provide a spreadsheet as to how that was arrived at, but that's cost. And as you saw from one of the attachments, there's a number of part-time employees, and
Yeah.
we're arguing 2 full-time employees that are dedicated to the function.
Any questions? Nope. All right, we will go ahead and move on to public comment. We have 27 cards, I believe, which is about an hour and a half. And normally when we have more than 25, we drop to 2 minutes. I'm going to say we stick to, look at the faces, stick to the 3 minutes. And then if you agree with someone else, if you could just say ditto, and you certainly don't have to use all 3 minutes. Brevity is the soul of wit, according to Shakespeare. So we will begin with Tina Abe, then Sarah Petrie, and then Randy Haney.
Thank you. I'm Tina Abe, and it's good to see you up here. I will say ditto to her everything Jessie presented. I just want to touch on just a couple of things that were in the administrative report, and one is the negligent maintenance of facilities and equipment, those liabilities concerned. I will say the city of Ojai is third on the list. First, I mean, heaven forbid a set of bars collapses and a child does get injured. First would be the sponsoring gym. They are required to hold additional insurance and liability insurance as well, just to hold that meet. Second would be USA Gymnastics. They're also required to have a coverage over those meets. And then third would be Ojai. And then just respectfully, do we know of any precedent that has happened before? I don't know of any. In the 45 years here, we've had plenty of injuries and no lawsuits. Everybody uses a waiver at the rec departments I've spoken with. So I'll just say that. As far as the negligence of staff, which is further down, the similar Ojai Gymnastics requires, USA Gymnastics trains our best coaches, and they do it to the highest level. And so it behooves us to have those coaches out on the floor doing what they do best. As far as use of public funds, I believe that the competitive team is a crucial element of this gymnastics program. My daughter, when she first saw the team do their exhibition at the Michelle Palza exhibition, she was done. That was her goal. She was in there for life, or at least till she was a senior in high school. Let's say that. So when we're saying some of these are benefiting the team, what I'm really saying is it benefits the whole gymnastics program. It's the difference between having a gymnast in there for 1 or 2 years for recreational gymnastics and the difference for having 5, 10, even 15 years a gymnast in that program. The last thing I'm going to say is about our 2 full-time supposed staff that are part of this program. Vicki Hollingsworth is a full-time employee, has not spent any hours of gymnast-specific time since COVID started. Any hours she is down on that floor are all volunteer. And as far as Stacy, she parcels out her hours as well. She spends, I want to say 4 to 6 hours on gymnastics, maybe a week. I know my time is up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tina. Next, we have Sarah Petrie, then Randy Haney, and then Severa Laura.
Thank you so much. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Sarah Petrie. I was a gymnast and then a coach at Ojai Valley Gymnastics for 10 years from 2005 to 2014 when I graduated high school and went away to college. I'm no longer a gymnast, I'm no longer a coach, but I'm still part of this Ojai Valley Gymnastics family. In the past 10 years, I graduated from college, got into and graduated from a PhD program at Duke University, and I now live and work in North Carolina. I found out about these changes and this meeting yesterday, and I got on a plane this morning to be here for my family. I ask that you fully support this program and its incredible staff. I joined the team when I was 9. I came from a private gym in Santa Barbara, and I was honestly shocked to see a basketball court underneath the gymnastics mats. Over time, though, I saw it for what it was. A home and a family headed by two of the most dedicated, supportive, and enthusiastic women I have ever known. I started to set bigger goals for myself because of them, because of this program. I wanted to go to level 5, then to level 7. And to meet those, I had to compete. That's how it works. You're required to compete at sanctioned USA Gymnastics events to go to those next events, or go to those next levels. So I was able to achieve my goals in this sport because of this program and because of Stacy and Vicky. And so I set new goals for myself in sport, in school, and in life. Being a member of this team gave me the skills and courage and determination to imagine futures for myself that I never would have imagined previously. I never imagined I'd move across the country all alone, far from family and friends. I never imagined I'd be a doctor. I never imagined that 10 years after moving out of Ojai, I'd be flying home because I was called to protect my family, the entire Ojai Valley Gymnastics program, its staff, its parents, and its participants, past, present, and future. Supporting this program means that every child who participates has the opportunity to dream and to do things they never imagined. I think I am an example of this, and there are so many people in this room who are also an example of this. Briefly, I will just say that Stacy and Vicky supported me through some of the toughest transitions of my life. They are my coaches, they are my mentors, and they are my family. I am here in this room today because of them. They are vital to the success, joy, and love of the Ojai Valley Gymnastics program, and to every single person who is lucky enough to call them part of their family. They will forever be part of mine, and I hope that Ojai Valley Gymnastics is too. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Next we have Randy Haney, then Severa Lara, then Sinai. Thank you, Sinai, and then Sinai Sarabia.
Good evening, Council. I'm not sure I want to follow that. So, the question I keep asking myself, why are we here? Why would someone take the opportunity to try and destroy one of the most precious programs that we have in this community? Why? So, and that just keeps playing back, and it keeps playing back, and I'm lost. The city manager and the director, who I don't know, the city manager admitted, we don't know, we didn't know. Then go find out. Jesus, you look at these women here, do they look like they don't want to talk to you? That they don't want to be present in a conversation? You've got 261 plus veterans in this community. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to educate you. I'm shocked. I'm saddened. So I go back to the why. Maybe it's because I'm the new guy. And maybe as the new guy, I want to put my name on the program. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't know him. But if you start looking at all the things that have occurred under his watch, the why comes out real simple. He wants his name on this Recreation and Parks program. And it's his absolute failure to lead, his absolute failure to involve, his absolute failure to create an environment which conducive to a positive result to all of these policy questions. And in turn, had he done that, we wouldn't be wasting your precious time discussing policy that should have been discussed in a commission, contrary to what the city manager thinks about commissions. But they are there to engage the public. They are there to engage everyone who has a say in any of the activities that might take place on this on the recreation of parks. 8 years commissioner, 7 years chair. We talked policy inside and out. 8 years on council. We approved every budget. You 5 have approved the last 2 budgets. Money is not an issue here. Why did this gentleman choose to destroy this program? Ask yourself that.
Thank you, Randy. Next we have Severa Lara, next, and then Sinai Sarabia, and then Catalina Austin.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. Ditto, 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 ditto. I also sat on the Park and Recreation Commission. I was born here and raised in Ojai. I sat as a mayor, I sat as a council member, and I asked myself, what is the motivation here? Why are we doing this? Now, with all due respect to the city manager and to the recreation director, this is one of the worst staff reports that I have read, because I had so many questions that was so eloquently answered by the Parents Association. I mean, somebody that we should have gone to since the beginning. I understand that there's legal issues, legal requirements, and I've been there. I've sat there. This is a waste of our time. We could have handled this in such a different way. There's shouldn't been this type of forum, type of meeting. I mean, it's disappointing to me because I sat up there, so I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be a leader, and I know it's hard to gauge. And at the same time, I'm in awe that our community is coming behind this program. It is though concerning also that there is the overall alignment with the city recreational priorities. What is that? It's said here, and that worries me, because if our leadership does not understand our bread and butter of this community, what's to look forward in the future? And on top of that, to hear that Vicky and Stacy haven't been part of this process. 2 people that it's amazing what they did. A former student flew all the way from the East Coast to defend them. I think we owe them a formal apology. I think we need to figure out how to not just recommend to keep this program how it is, but what else are we going to do to improve it? How are we going to build around this? I mean, when I first heard of this issue, I said, no way. There's no way this is coming. And I'm not part of the gymnastics program, but I know the importance of it. And I know what it means to this community. So I really hope you're able to take this in and find leaders that could lead this recreation department, because every activity is important. We need stuff for youth here in the Ojai Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Severo. Next we have Sinai, then Catalina, and then Noah Austin. Hi.
Hello, guys. So I was going to talk little bit more about what our program offers, but I feel like we kind of got it covered. So I'm just going to speak about myself. My name is Sinai. I was a gymnast for this program, and now I am a coach. I do know that some of my council members have asked why I haven't spoken, and that is out of fear of retaliation for not only myself, but most importantly, my supervisors, Stacy and Vicky. I feel like it's pretty clear that we've had a harsh environment, but I'm here today because I feel like I need to explain who I am. Again, I come from this program, but I started in a private program. I had an injury and then I fell off, and then somehow I kind of made it into this program. And like Sarah Petrie said, Stacy and Vicky have been amazing coaches, and even though I had very big dreams of going back to my original gym, I decided to stay here just because they offer an amazing program, as you guys can tell. I have gone through many meets. A lot of the time, I always have to make sure that I am there 3 days a week before my meet, and that I am fully competent at competing at my meet, or else I am not allowed to compete. They do have that final say, just because they can have their memberships pulled away if they are not safely bringing kids out onto the floor. On a different note, a little bit more about myself. I came from a very harsh household. This program to me was very important to me throughout my whole high school career. It was my only safe spot. My household was very harsh. I dealt with a lot of mental abuse, and really what got me still here and being alive today is all thank you to Stacy and Vicky. They have not been a part of the program on the coaching floor, and sadly that is a reason why I'm not a gymnast anymore. I am too much of a higher level gymnast to be coached by any other staff, and so that's why I've kind of taken the coaching ground, and hopefully we can change this and make it a better community, because honestly what the program offers is amazing. And I feel like you guys all understand. I feel like we're all on the same page about this, but really, let's bring Stacy and Vicky back because they've got the most experience. I'm the one currently on the floor with the most experience, but I'm only 21, you know? I do not have 31 years of experience, and as much as I love these kids and I know I can offer them good guidance, I think Stacy and Vicky are the heart of this program. So thank you so much. Oh, another thing, please bring back the coaching shirts. It brings up our professionalism. I think it's not fair, but thank you.
Thank you, Sunai. Next, we have Catalina, and then Noah, and then Jolene Catlett.
Hello. Honorable members of the City Council, my name is Catalina Austin. I'm a student at Nordhoff High School, and I've lived in Ojai my entire life. When I was 2 years old, my mother enrolled me in the gymnastics program at the Ojai Rec Department. I have some of my fondest memories there, with the coaches and the other gymnasts, until I switched sports 4 years later. Despite my switch, I've stayed connected to that program ever since through students that I teach at the Taekwondo Academy and through my family. My older sister has stuck with gymnastics since she was 2 years old, and that place has kind of become a second home for her. And it has just made her into a beautiful, intelligent, dedicated, and responsible person. I played basketball for 2 years at the rec center and never experienced a single issue with having things in our way or not training enough. My team won first place both of the years I was involved, and gymnastics never affected me or my team. Additionally, the recreation department is not the only public basketball court we have. If we truly needed to increase practice time at Nordhoff and Matilaha, both have open courts that are just as good as the ones at the rec center. If the teams feel they need more time to practice, one of these alternatives can and should be used. However, the gymnastics program has been incredibly considerate for all of the teams that need to practice there and have a mandatory cleanup period at the end of each day, moving the heavy, large equipment just to make space for other people. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Catalina. Next, we have Noah, and then Jojo, and then Amelia.
Hello. Hi. I've been part of the Ojai Valley Gymnastics program for 15 years. I joined it when I was 2, and I just immediately fell in love with the program, and I've learned so much. A lot of the discipline and resilience that I learned from the sport I use in my everyday life, in gymnastics, outside of gymnastics, just like I bring it with me everywhere I go. In the program, I learned to be more patient with myself and to always persevere, and again, I carried those skills with me in the program and outside of the program. But I think more importantly, the gymnastics program has provided me with a second family that I can always go to, and I know I can always go to. My coaches and my teammates have become an incredibly important part of my life, offering support, encouragement, and comfort. I've formed many irreplaceable bonds with these people, and I've learned so many things from all of them. Some of my best memories were made in this gymnastics building. When my parents would come and pick me up, I used to hide in any little crevice I could find just to get a few more minutes in the place that I love. This program means the world to me, not just for the physical and mental skills that I've gained, but for the sense of community and belonging it has given me. It has shaped me into the person I am today, and I am forever grateful for the experiences and relationships it continues to provide for me every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Next we have JoJo, and then Amelia, and then Peyton Stafford.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. During the past few council meetings, I have brought to your attention that the information being provided to you by Matt Davis is consistently incorrect. In the staff report, there was more things. I would like to echo what Jesse had said. He says that there were 17 part-time staff and 2 full-time staff for gymnastics. Sorry, I'm so nervous. If not all of the part-time staff also work movie nights, kids camp, open house. There are not 2 full-time staff in the gymnastics program. One of the full-time staff, Vicki Hollingsworth, also works in programming, and her official title from the City of Ojai website is Recreation Coordinator. So only a percentage of her time is dedicated to gymnastics. The other full-time employee, Stacy, she hasn't been there all summer. She's our rock star, and we dearly miss her. So saying that there's 2 full-time employees, that's just not correct. Also in the report, Mr. Davis writes that there's 16 competitive level classes. Like Jesse said, there's 1, and we have Noah as our only competitor. I'm still confused why it's a problem to have the parent organization raise money to support a recreation program. The parents group is essentially a booster club that fundraises to help purchase equipment for the program. They provide scholarships, and they help offset the cost of competition, leotards, and I'm asking tonight to please allow our dedicated coaches and staff to be compensated during gymnastics meets. I think if we're going to offer competitive gymnastics, there has to be a certified coach on the floor with them, and they should be, compensated for that. I'm asking that Matt Davis also reinstate Stacy as a part of our gymnastics program. Since this summer, she's been moved from our kids, and she's no longer coaching. This feels so logical since she's a former competitive gymnast who grew up in this program and has been involved for over 30 years. She has an incredible knowledge of how to safely coach our children, and our kids feel incredibly safe with her. Why we're pulling her, our most experienced gymnast, from teaching is beyond me. Thank you.
Thank you, JoJo. Next we have Amelia Catlett. And then we have Peyton Stafford, and then William Wyrick.
Hi, my name's Amelia, and I've been doing gymnastics at the rec center since I was 2 years old. Gymnastics is a part of our community, and for some, it's a part of their lives. If I did not do gymnastics, I would probably be bored a lot, because gymnastics is a sport I really love. There are a lot of places that do basketball, soccer, and tennis, and only one gymnasium that we use. Plus, every Friday we take down for basketball, and there's no problem. Gymnastics isn't about just doing flips. It's about building your bravery and independence. I hope you keep supporting our gymnastics. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. Next we have Peyton, and then William Wyrick, and then Christina Snowbarger.
Hi, I am Peyton Stafford. I'm a level 1 gymnast, and I've been doing gymnastics for 7 years. Tonight I will talk about sportsmanship. When I was a rock star, all the superstars could run over when I fell. I helped Zoe, our new superstar, up when she fell, and all of our rock stars helped her move up. When all of our friends and Zoe, when they all moved up, we all helped her and encouraged her after she took a big fall. After we did that, she moved up and had a great time at gymnastics. Thank you.
Thank you, Peyton. Next, we have William Wyrick, then Christina, and then Katie Donwin.
And yes, multiple dittos. I wanted to add a couple bird's eye views. Obviously, we have something that is an embedded part of our community culture for literally generations. And the governance culture of this city, represented by all of you collectively, has failed them. Beginning with finding a reason to disengage the community by not having active and frequent commission meetings. We just heard an exchange between the mayor and the city manager, once again providing a rationale for why the commission should not be involved in something that it has been traditionally involved in, again, for generations. A decision in closed session where the guiding principle of Brown Act exceptions is only things should be eliminated from or taken out of public discussion that serve the public interest. How did it serve the public interest? For all of you to be complicit in a decision in a direction without engaging public in any meaningful way or at all. How did it serve the public interest to have a sense of, I guess, overriding bureaucratic control override the public interest in terms of the organic importance of this program across generations in our lives? If we have a problem, you bring it out for discussion. You get public input. You respect this community's genius. We have a special character in this community because of the community's genius. And there has been a systematic elimination of that input, a disrespect of the bringing genius of this community into these decisions by this collective governance culture that I see before me. So please, go back to step zero. Look at how to continue this important part of our local culture and not let a newcomer bureaucratic mentality kill it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Next, we have Christina, then Katie Donwin, and then Robin Schwartzberg.
Good evening. Thank you for letting us be here for this meeting. We really appreciate that. I am in so much awe of how great you guys are. More than I even know, and I'm sure that you guys are realizing that as well, that we don't really need to recreate the wheel. That, you know, some mistakes have been made, but people make mistakes and we are supposed to learn from them. And I think that you guys are, you know, the new kids on the block, and we want to welcome you to the community, and we want you to be part of what we do, what our community is thriving from, as you can see, from the littlest kids to the biggest doctors. And, you know, I mean, I didn't grow up here, but I'm really glad that my family's growing up here, and I'm so grateful for Ojai. And, you know, my daughter was 2 when she started, and just the joy and the independence that she would have. Coach Amanda, watch this, you know? I mean, I watch the videos and look at the Peyton talking about how they help each other. And that's the type of people that we want in our community, you know? Those are the peers that we want our neighbors to have their kids around, you know? And I can see why maybe you put Stacy somewhere else for a minute, because she's really great, and I'm sure gymnastics isn't the only thing that she's good at. And gymnastics is a program that you guys can learn from, and I just really hope that you continue to hear our voices and lean on the community and learn from your mistakes.
Thank you, Christina. Next, we have Katie Donwin, then Robin Schwartzberg, and then Jessica Omish.
Hello, good evening. So definitely ditto to a lot of what's said tonight. and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to speak on tonight. I do know that what I find most important is the commission or lack thereof. And as was mentioned previously, there was some discussion tonight about that. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to read from our city's municipal code, 2-4.104, powers and duties. A, to act in an advisory capacity to the council on all matters pertaining to recreation programs and facilities. Recreation facilities include, but are not limited to, parks, buildings, trails, bike paths, and open space. C, to receive input from current and potential recreation program participants and recreation facility users regarding the recreation program and facility needs of the community. To periodically review the recreation element of the general plan, that's D. To periodically review recreation policies, that's E. And on, reviewing, participating in the annual review. The commission isn't some peripheral organization. It's integral to the operation of our city programming and to give voice to the people who want to utilize these programs. And as was mentioned previously, I think a lot of this could be avoided if we had a commission. And this isn't specific to just the Parks and Recreation Commission. This is all of our commissions. We have several seats that are vacant that should have been filled many moons ago. I think we would all agree. And it's very unfortunate that this particular situation kind of clouds that, because this is important. These programs are so important to us. 2 of my young girls participate in gymnastics. But I, to my core, believe that we wouldn't all be gathering here tonight, spending time, if we had the oversight and the organizations in place that we should have. I received the email in March regarding applying for the Parks and Rec Commission. I immediately did that. I spoke with Mr. Davis about that. I applied immediately, never heard back, followed up several times. My application was lost. Recently, it was found. Still no contact. And so I really do hope that whatever meeting is happening in December, these positions will be filled so that we can move forward and not run into this situation again. Because it's emotionally taxing. It takes our time, takes your time. And we can do better for this community, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Next we have Robin, and then Jessica, and then Zoe Amish. And just a note to the public, we have filled all the other openings on the other commissions, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe also,
So,
despite-
do you want to turn your...
Yeah. This might be a good moment to state that we're still looking for a youth commissioner for the recreation department. So there's a lot of youth here, and I didn't see any youth in the stack of applicants. So if you want to apply, this is a good time to apply.
Yes, great idea.
We need a youth commissioner.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, next we have Robin, then Jessica, and then Zoe.
Thank you. So like a lot of the people who have spoken, I grew up in Ojai my whole life. I've been here 48 years. I've been teaching art since 2009. I think I'm an amazing art teacher, and I think anyone who's taken art classes from me, from 2-year-olds to Bill Miley's got the record right now, 99. I have a lot of patience and a lot of compassion and a lot of love. I bring a lot to the community. I came here tonight to resign from working with the rec department. So hopefully that will send a message. I blew the whistle on October 8th that we have a serious problem. I don't find it acceptable to be working under someone who thinks that it's appropriate to use angry fists to intimidate women into submission or to force them to clean black mold. I don't think it's okay that the city manager, Ben, who I met with, didn't take the opportunity while Matt was still during a probationary period to fire him like he probably should have. I got 2 more weeks to see at the rec until my 6 weeks is done. So congratulations, Matt. I came in terrified the first time to speak up, and now I'm just angry. Because why? What? Like, we have this amazing program. My kids took gymnastics 26 years ago from Stacy when they were 2 years old. Amazing. The kinds of qualities that children get from learning how to have confidence and speak up and find their inner strength. I don't know, it just kind of gets the feeling is just, we don't want strong women. Is that what it is? Because that's what it feels like. I'm not going to hang out in an environment that supports that kind of toxic ridiculousness. I'll be around. I'll figure it out. I got a job waiting tables. I'm great at that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robin. Next we have Jessica, and then Zoe, and then April MacArthur.
Good evening. Nice to see you all again. Ditto, we're all afraid to come up here and talk to you guys. Like, every single one of us is afraid to come up here and talk to you. However, you guys work for us. You work for us, and you haven't been working for us. So I'd like to start out by saying that I'm a product of the Ojai Rec Department. Growing up, I participated in multiple rec department programs, including gymnastics, but softball for the entirety of my youth. In fact, one of my pitchers and one of my coaches is sitting in this room tonight, and I'm 40 years old. My daughter is now a gymnast at the Ojai Rec Department. These sports, when made accessible and affordable, have the potential to change a child's life as they did mine. They also provide healthy outlets, mentors, and coaches that often unknowingly provide respite and safe havens, as well as opportunities to children from all walks of life. All that being said, the recent events and chosen path of city staff and council have chosen to relinquish support of numerous youth programs, including gymnastics, putting our youth at greater risk. The council has been making decisions based on misinformation given to them by city staff without the consultation of the community or a rec commission. It's debatable if this misinformation is flat out lies or an inept understanding of how the city department is run. It's also debatable which is worse. A solution to the predicament that we have found ourselves in is to expedite the process of reconstituting the rec commission to provide clear and concise oversight and accountability of the department and its activities, as well as to act as a liaison to advise the council and clear and honest information in regards to the department and its programs. From the City of Ojai website, it's quoted on your website, the Parks and Recreation Commission reflects the desires of the community to care for and develop its parks and recreation facilities and programs. The commission is charged to interface with citizens and city leaders to develop recreation programs and activities and review policies and plans for parks and public areas, serving as an advisory body to the city council. Lastly, it is incredibly offensive to have parents be told by the park manager that if we care so much about gymnastics, that we should go to private gyms in other cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Next we have Zoe, and then, okay, Zoe, then April, and then John Jenks.
Hello, my name is Zoe. Sorry, one sec. Hello, City Council. My name is Zoe. I am 9 and I am in 4th grade. I've been doing gymnastics since I was a toddler. Gymnastics teaches me how to be a good friend and teammate, how to set goals, and also teaches me not to give up. Gymnastics is important to me because The coaches and my team support me and help me reach goals. You have been trying to take away gymnastics away from not only me, but everyone in the program. We are fighting for Ojai Gymnastics. Please, it's important to us and we care about it. Do you really believe that the bad outweighs the good? I heard a saying from Buddha. He said, when words are both true and kind, they can change the world. So I have a question for you. Will your words be both true and kind when you make your decision about gymnastics? Will you decide to help us change the world? Please do not shut down or change gymnastics. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Zoe. Next we have April, and then John Jenks, and then Robin Gerber.
Hello, I'm April MacArthur, and I want to first thank you all for coming back to the table and talking with everyone and re-looking at what's available for gymnastics in this town. I'm here representing my daughter, Katie MacArthur, and my daughter number 2, Genevieve Neary. Through this program, I gained a second daughter. Couldn't live without her. You ditto everybody else who's already said that. It's family. We've all gained so much from this program, children, parents alike. And so I just hope that you can keep as much of this program as possible and help us keep making it affordable for everyone in the Valley by fundraising, and look at the best solutions we can do to handle the liability issues that we're facing. And let's find solutions and get out and play.
Thank you, April. Next we have John Jenks, and then Robin Gerber, and then Holly Jones.
Good evening. Thank you for holding this meeting. My name's John Jenks. I am a longtime Ojai resident. My family's been in the Valley since the 1800s. I worked for Ojai PD when we had our own police department. If any of you know Vince France, Larry Bauer, the people that were Ojai. So I'm representing those people. Young Jess, who spoke, talked about her softball coach. That was me. I've coached at both high schools, softball and volleyball. I've worked in rec sports for probably 30 years working with young athletes. And I don't know squat about gymnastics. I know my 2 adult daughters, who are both successful female professionals, went through the gymnastics program. And I know that I can tell you about 90 to 100% of the girls I coached at Nordhoff and Villanova in softball or volleyball did gymnastics. I don't know anything about gymnastics. I know good coaching when I see it. And I'll tell you, my granddaughter is now fortunate enough to be a part of this. And I've seen the change. Sports touch people's lives. When someone calls, they still call me coach today, and I haven't coached, high school for 20 years. That's a mantle I'm proud to wear, because coaching's like being a parent. You got to have a balance of love and discipline. If you have too much either way, you're going to mess with your proteges. But I see, like I say, I see love, I see direction, I see discipline, I see everything good about sports that helps develop good citizens. I get emotional because a girl I coached in high school, her twin sister died when she was really young. And people in the gymnastics program know who I'm talking about. And that program saved this girl's life when she lost her twin sister. That's the power of sports. The power of sports is not just giving athletic talent and abilities. It's leadership, it's discipline, it's teamwork. It's learning to trust and rely. It's learning to help your fellow competitors. It's doing sportsmanship. It's winning with dignity and losing with pride, knowing you've done the best you can. That's what these coaches do. That's what they provide for this valley. When I worked for the City of Ojai Police Department back in the 70s, we used to know every high school kid in town because there's nothing to do in town, and they cruised, and they drank beer, and they fought. But we knew them. Kids are the same today. They still get bored, like somebody said. We need to provide them the safe outlets, the adults and the parents and the mentors that are going to help them grow. So thank you again, especially the great questions I heard. I appreciate that. Somebody stole my thunder because I'm an investigator by trade. And
Thank you, John. Next we have Robin Gerber, then Holly Jones, and then Shania Gary.
Hi, I'm Robin
Shiana.
Gerber. Oh, sorry. I'm Robin Gerber, Council, Mayor. First of all, bravo to Jesse Austin, Susan Malkin, and Tina Abe for being engaged Ojai citizens and showing great leadership in fighting to preserve this competitive gymnastics program, the whole gymnastics program, as I've learned. Ladies, please consider joining a commission or running for office. We need you. Second, it is important to understand that we're here for one simple reason. Mr. Harvey, I'm sure you're listening, although you haven't really been looking at us. And that is, frankly, administrative incompetence. I would hope that every part of our little town government would be a shining example of how democratically elected government can work. Sadly, that has not been the case in recent years. The resource-wasting exercise of saving gymnastics started because you, Mr. Harvey, newcomer yourself, hired Mr. Davis, who's also a newcomer and has no experience in our valley. This wouldn't be relevant if he had proceeded with basic management common sense, which you did not, sir. He should have observed programs and staff and parents and children. You should have spoken to them and then interviewed each staff member and said, what do you do and what ideas do you have for me? You needed to understand how the rec department works. This is called assessment. Big fancy management firms do it. Another simple rule of management is put people where they can do the best. And it seems that you haven't done that either in terms of these two wonderful women who have worked in the gymnastics program. They will work better, the program will work better, the whole department will work better and excel if people are working where they should be working. Instead, unfortunately, a conspiracy was apparently hatched, and I say that advisedly. What is a conspiracy? It means a secret plan to do something harmful. How else to explain a closed session last summer to discuss the very public issue of this program's future? Mr. Summers' excuse for that breach of the Brown Act is laughable, but it's in the hands of the district attorney. Do the right thing tonight, restore the program, allow staff to attend meets on the clock, for God's sake. They're only 8 a year. Stop fear-mongering, please, Matt, about lawsuits over liability. We all know how to get insurance, as Leslie said. You seem to want to find the crevices of illegality, cook them up, and then scare the bejesus out of our council members. Get a recreation commission in place. That's been said. And in the meantime, you better have another public meeting to talk about all those other programs you want to cut, because otherwise we're going to be right back here doing this again.
Thank you, Robin. Next we have Holly Jones, then Shiana, not sure, and then Trista.
Hi. Ditto to everything. I almost didn't even come up here because they said everything. But I just want to, let's bring back Stacy and Vicky. They mean so much to the program, and they're not even on the floor. My daughter does gym from 5 to 7:30, 3 days a week, and she doesn't get to see them. Those are the coaches. Those are so many great coaches, but they deserve to be out there. They've been pulled to do senior hiking, and which is great. Stacy's wonderful at that, but she deserves to be in the gym. And also, please just reassure us, you're not going to take any equipment away. You're going to keep it all the same. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next we have Shiana, then Trista, and then Veronica.
Good evening. My name is Cheyenne with an A at the end.
I had the privilege of participating in this program for several years when I was growing up. My mom was involved. She helped found the parents group and establish it as a nonprofit in 2003. She volunteered even after I was no longer involved in the program. She fundraised for the program and so much more. I've been able to come back as an adult and participate in the adult classes. I've had the unique opportunity of having my gymnastics coaches also coach my 9-year-old stepdaughter, so it's been generational and incredible. Through gymnastics, I learned the importance of confidence, perseverance, and hard work. Competition is a key component of this program. As so many others have already explained, in order to progress to higher levels and excel in this sport, you have to compete. When I decided I didn't want to compete anymore, I was never pressured to do so. I was able to continue in the program and continue building my skills. When I did compete, I felt safe and supported by my coaches at the time, Stacy, Vicky, as well as Shelly. Gymnastics taught me more than flips and routines. It instilled confidence, perseverance, and a deep belief in my own potential. These are the lessons that extend far beyond the gym. Lessons that have stayed with me through every stage of life, helping me become the person and the attorney that I am today. The program isn't just about physical sport of gymnastics. It's about shaping kind and resilient young people. We are fortunate to have coaches that are deeply invested in our children's success, not just as athletes, but as human beings. You guys all heard Sinai earlier. These coaches are invested in these children. The coaches are not just instructors. They're mentors who pour their hearts into shaping kind, compassionate, and resilient young humans, and that's exactly what they've done for over 30 years. They create a space where lifelong friendships are forged, where children learn to believe in themselves and learn to support one another. The detrimental decision made by this council to attempt to dismantle this gymnastics program over the public's expressed and repeated objection will inevitably result in the families being forced to seek alternative programs and will effectively drive our youth out of Ojai and into surrounding areas instead. It seems to me that there are viable options and alternative resolutions to continue researching and pursuing for fundraising, for insurance, for staff time, waivers, everything. I'm grateful to the women on this board, right in front of me, that have been asking the hard questions, suggesting the viable resolutions. Thank you, ladies. And I'm in awe of the community that has gathered here today, traveling far and wide to come together. It's amazing to see our community come together so passionately, although it's under less than ideal circumstances. And lastly, I just want to say, these kids are amazing. Taking down, setting up 3 days a week during basketball, that's tough. That's really hard. And none of them are complaining. They're happy to do it. They're happy to share their space so that they can continue in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Next we have Trista, and then Veronica, and then Sydney Romero. Romino, maybe.
Good evening, council members. My name is Trista. As you just met, that was my daughter, Cheyenne. 26 years ago, we came up here. We moved from Camarillo, didn't know this community, and I thought, what's a good way to get involved? So I went to the rec center where we discovered gymnastics. I had no idea in that moment the family and the amazing crew that we were about to meet. We were lucky back then to have Shelly and Stacy and Vicky on the floor full time. And a lot of us parents all didn't mind helping. We loved being together. It helped my children make friends and get to know everybody around here. Had we had to have gone to Ventura, then we wouldn't have had that. We would be friends with people in Ventura that aren't up here at the schools that are up here. So that was really one of the most helpful things for us. And as they have, ditto everybody, as they've all said, these kids, they'll take down, they'll set up, they do it and they have fun while they do it. That's teaching them teamwork. That's teaching them that as a group, we work together and we don't fight each other on it. You just jump in and you help. And there has got to be answers to a lot of these questions. As many have already said, talking about the insurance issues, it's already covered on higher levels before it even gets to that Ojai level. So I don't understand why that's an issue at all. They don't mind sharing the spaces. And again, our kids, it takes a village. I will tell you, most parents will agree with that. It takes a village. And we were lucky enough to come here and find our village. And to have you take that away from other parents, other children, that is harmful to our community. And you guys should be asking yourselves, how can we actually build this to be better, do better for our kids and our community? Thank you.
Thank you, Trista. Next we have Veronica, then Sydney, and then Charlotte Gary.
My name is Veronica. I am here today to say that I used to be in the gymnastics program. I have moved on to dance. Matt, why would you want to take away gymnastics? Every kid I know took something like gymnastics. I also want to say we don't have softball, we don't have cheer, and many other fun activities for kids. This program is so fun and the coaches are awesome. Stacy and Vicky would help me when I need it. And when I fell, all my friends came to help me through it. Even the parents have donated money, equipment, leotards, and the kids are even taking down the equipment. Gymnastics can teach teamwork, setting goals, flexibility, and many more. Gymnastics made me so much more flexible. I made so many more friends. I even made friends with my enemy. This program is part of our community and needs to stay. Ojai Valley Gymnastics has so much history. My coaches were Sinai, Shelly, Vicky, and Stacy. These coaches are helping all these kids gain skills. This program matters to all of us. Even people are traveling across the country. Please let this program stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. If you could we really appreciate your enthusiasm. If you could just keep the volume down a little bit. Next we have Sydney, then Charlotte, and then Angelica.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Sydney, and I just want to say ditto to everyone that's already spoken before me. I just want to add a little bit about myself. I started gymnastics when I first moved to Ojai when I was 8 years old, 30 years ago. And Stacy and Vicky became my family, and they still are today. And now I get to see my kids growing up in the program. And it's just very important. And it's very important to have that level of competition. That's what builds that programming. That's what allows the kids to want to be there every day, to have something to strive for, something to get better for. So I'm just here to encourage all of you to really think hard about everything that's been said today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Next we have Charlotte, and then Angelica, and then Maxine Blanchard Turner.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Gary. I love gym because I met so many of my friends. Now I'm closer to them. Now I love gym. Now I'm closer to them now, and I love gym because I've gotten more flexible, and I still see the people that helped me and still say hi and talk with them for a second. And it just holds so many memories. It is so fun and awesome. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Charlotte. Next we have Angelica, and then Maxine.
Hello, good evening. I'm Angelica. These are my children. The gymnastics program is very important to us. We came into the program when my daughter was only about 7, and we went into the stars right away. Well, actually, no, 5. And my daughter has a weaker left hand, and we were kind of nervous about doing gymnastics. She didn't find a sport that she liked. She didn't want to do basketball. She didn't want to do baseball. Things were a little tricky for us. And we went to Stacy, and I approached Stacy personally. I asked her, I told her about our situation. I explained to her, and she was very thorough in explaining to me that gymnastics was the great place for her, that it would help strengthen her arm, which it has. It did more for her arm than physical therapy could have ever done. She told me not to worry, that she would make sure that she would keep an eye on her. She would not let her do anything that would cause any harm to her, that she would keep an eye very close to her. And she did. And she did it for many years because she really loved it until she grew out of it and went into dance like her friend Veronica. But along the way, my other daughter has joined, and she shows real potential, and she really loves it. And these coaches have made everything in our life about gymnastics. And I don't understand why you would come in, and I'll be honest, Matt, I didn't like you from the day I read your program. you took credit for a lot of money that was raised by the prior manager. And it seemed like you took credit for it in a way that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Only to find out that now here we are in this predicament where you're trying to now take away a program essential to our cornerstone of our city. You don't seem to care much. Your facial expressions don't seem to matter, along with Matt next to you, as well as Andrew. I'm sorry, but this entire time you look bored. You look like you had enough of hearing us from the moment that we began. You're leaning on your face, you're covering your ears. Isn't this important? Isn't this what it matters to the city is our children? I mean, aren't the children what is going to happen to the city in the future? Shouldn't we care about what our families, what the Ojai families want for the Ojai Valley, and not just what you want to take credit for changing and reproducing? And what programs do you have for the gym? What is it that you wanted to do in the gym? Is there a list of something that you had planned that you want to take it away from the girls and boys that are really in this? And there are plenty of boys in this program. I'm just really disappointed that it came to this. We do everything for each other. It's disappointing to know that our parent group is a problem when all they're trying to do is help take care of our kids, take care of the city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Angelica. Next we have Maxine.
Hi, my name's Maxine, and I made a petition because I really like the Ojai Gymnastics Rec Center. And I'm going to read the letter I wrote with it to you. Let's start from the top. To whom it may concern. Hello, my name is Maxine. I love gymnastics. I do stars gymnastics class at the Ojai Valley Rec Center. I'm so sad it's closing. I thought about it and talked to my mom, and we both thought the same thing, which was I should write a letter, so here it is. And scratch the part that the Ojai Valley was closing because happily it is not closing anymore. Ojai Valley Rec Center has been here for a long time. You can shoot and it should stay open because of the lottery. You can choose if you want to do competitive or just for fun. It's not that expensive and it's close by and it's really fun. There's no other option than going all the way to Ventura. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Mr. Chief Deputy City Clerk, any comments online? Those are any other comments in the House? Oh, okay, Star Child.
Thank you.
Any other cards to turn in? Anyone?
Hi, Mayor and Council. A question that I have is, what should we do now? I think what we have to do is start with truth and reconciliation. So the first truth is that this process was mishandled. The closed session meeting was counterproductive. It kept us from giving you advice from the community. It kept us from answering questions, from answering yours. And the privilege that you have to keep that closed session from being talked about, it should be waived. We should be able to ask you what happened. You should be able to tell us what you talked about. And you owe at least that to the community. Another thing is reconciliation. Instead of curtailing or reducing the gymnastics program, it should be expanded. There shouldn't be a waiting list. There should be the hours necessary for the community to be able to participate. We should buy insurance. We shouldn't curtail the program. We should allow them to fundraise and put whatever minimal restrictions are necessary to satisfy any legal obligation. We should ensure there's no retaliation against any of the staff members who spoke today, any of the participants, any of the coaches. We should allow Stacy and Vicky back in their roles in the gymnastics program. And like Savaro said, you should write a letter. The letter should apologize to the community for not including us in what was done today. It should promise not to destroy or get rid of any of the gymnastics equipment. And it should reaffirm your commitment to transparency and to participation of the public. And I'm looking forward to that. I think when you do that, we'll be able to work together, the government and the people you serve. We'll be able to work with Mr. Harvey for as long as he stays as the city manager, which I hope is long. And I want to thank you all for listening and bringing this meeting together. And I look forward to a better Ojai for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Star Child. Next, we have Leela.
My name is Layla. When I first started, I had a weak arm. Gymnastics really helped me. It's hard how you guys are just gonna stop it. Like.
Leela?
I'm happy to see my sister happy for it. It helped me a lot. And just happy to see my sister happy too. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. Next, we have Rachel Watterson.
Hi. I did not grow up in this valley, but I plan to die here, and I'm raising my children here, and I have 3 kids under the age of 7, and all 3 of them are in gymnastics year-round. The day I found out it wasn't just a summer camp program, which shocked me. I have lived all over the country. I grew up all over California. I was stunned to discover that this community has a program like this that isn't just for 8 or 12 weeks in the summer, but you can pursue it all year round. And something that we've heard a lot from parents and athletes in this room is how important we can gain relationships, bravery, skills between them in the students in these sports. What we haven't heard is that not all sports are for all kids. I have neurodivergent kids. They're not going to play team sports. And not because there's anything wrong with team sports, but they're not going to be playing soccer and baseball and football. Those aren't my kids. A place where they can come become the best person, athlete, individual that they are, and not be pressured to do it at a level or a skill level that is going to impact other kids if they don't rise to that level. That's detrimental to children's development. But a place where they can come say, I did my best on my thing today, and the only person that reflects on is my own hard work. That's imperative. And there aren't that many opportunities for kids to have that. And to have that start at age 2 is invaluable. The first adult my son spoke to, outside of our extraordinary Oakview Library librarian, is Sinai. The first adult outside of our family he spoke to. And it took a year. And it matters to have a program like this for kids like those. I don't know if my kids are ever going to do a flip. I don't care. But I watched him walk across a balance beam yesterday with courage and confidence that he didn't have a year ago. And that he wasn't building on a playground. He was building with coaches who he trusts. And it is not lost on me that this predominantly female sport is targeted. And I don't think it's lost on the community either. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Next, we have Donica Purcell, then Amanda Dickinson, and then Kelly Swift.
Hi. I'm not a public speaker, but there's a lot of love in this room. A lot of love. And I've only worked for the rec department for less than 2 years. But I've never felt accepted like I do, even just as an employee. And I'm a student at Cal State Channel Islands, and I'm studying early childhood studies. This isn't just a job. It's not just something to fill my time in between classes. This is my passion. I've decided to dedicate my life to the future generations. And the love that I feel for this program is something I can barely put into words. But I love everybody I work with, and I love these kids. And to hear the pain in their voice, and to see the tears in their eyes, and to see so much emotion right at the surface, it's contagious. I could easily break down and cry right now, very much so. And all I want you to think about is, do you really care about the kids in this community? Because what you decide to do with this program says it loud and clear. If you decide to keep this program, you care about the kids. And if you don't care about the kids. I feel like it's that simple. And I just want to tell everybody that I work with, Stacy, Vicky, everybody, that I love you guys so much. You are my family. Because I come from a family that I don't really get along with either. And to find that community, it's irreplaceable. It really is. And just like Sinai, in so many ways, things like that have saved my life. And I just really want you to think, do these kids really matter to you? Because these aren't just their kids, they're our kids. They're our kids. And we need to do this for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Danica. Next we have Amanda and then Kelly.
Yes. I don't have anything written out, so I hope to keep this organized. Obviously echo all the concerns for legality issues and the inconsistencies, but I also wanted to share that, like Sinai, I also came from a home with no love, and I found that through Vicky and Stacy. Stacy has a story about me that she loves to share, but we won't go over that. She found me as, I was in trouble, and she kind of took me under her wing. And I found the courage to become the person that I needed as a child. And I feel like that's very important, in that this program can produce that caliber of people, the caliber of humans that come out of this program, like Sinai, and Sarah, a doctor. Cheyenne, you said you're an attorney? Yeah, I'm just an accountant. But I'm also a mom now. And I think that making sure that this program stays as successful as it has been is really important to me now, because I want my daughter to be part of this program, just how it was such a huge part of my life growing up. Yeah, as a young adult, I didn't do gymnastics as a kid. Stacy found me, and I started doing the setup, just setting up the equipment, and then became a coach teaching the tiny tots. And there's a gaggle of kids back there that still know me now, who are excited to see me, and it's amazing. So I just wanted to also echo the importance of this program to this community, creating good people. And I guess that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Amanda. Next we have Kelly.
Hi again, I'm Kelly Swift, and I'm actually here to read for Megan Fanoff, who couldn't be here tonight. She'd set up a survey. Gosh, let's see if I can read this. She says, my family and I are avid supporters of the rec department. The most troubling aspect of the proposed changes is how they came about. No public survey or involvement with the Parks and Rec Commission. I took it upon myself to create a public survey. This is not a professional scientific survey. I would urge Parks and Rec to do one of their own, but 59 households filled out my basic survey, which was simply spread through word of mouth. People are hungry to share their ideas, to be heard, and to be involved in their community programming. Some of the survey results. Favorite Ojai Parks and Rec programs. Overwhelmingly, gymnastics was at the top of that list, followed by a distant second place of art classes. Third place was shared with parkour, soccer, basketball, and the game room. When asked what folks would like added or changed to youth programming, they mentioned wanting Stacy as a gymnastics coach again. More softball, jewelry making classes, flag football, youth cheerleading, robotics, coding, STEM workshops, music classes, basketball year-round, upgrade gymnasium mats, deep clean gym equipment. Add more classes for 0 to 5-year-olds, especially art, parkour, and music. What folks would like added or changed for teens, outdoor activities added, like hiking, backpacking, trail riding. What folks would like added or changed for adults. Pickleball, resume Saturday night basketball, add classes on local foraging, indigenous wisdom, and healthy food preservation, like canning and fermenting. This is our awesome and varied community. We have a ton of ideas. Please ask us to the table when trying to create programs for our families. We appreciate all that everyone is doing to keep Ojai such an incredible place to live in. My best, Megan Anderson Faniff.
Thank you, Callie and Megan. All right, that's everyone here. Do we have any comments online?
Yes, Mayor. Let's transition to our Zoom participants in our hybrid model. Zoom participants, I'm speaking to you. You may raise your hand if you'd like to speak during public comment now. We have one. We'll have Mr. Bill Miley.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm an applicant for a commission seat on the Park and Rec Commission. The Park and Rec Commission has not been functioning since the late 2023. Because there currently is only one appointed member and 6 vacancies. I know of 2 applicants, both of them submitted their application in December 23. I'm one. When I was in my 40s, I spent 4 years on this commission. Other than an acknowledgement that my application was received, I had had no communication from the city. The city council has not addressed the commission vacancies ever in 2024. Each council member has a designated position in the 7-member commission appointment protocol. It's my opinion that the council members have little or no motivation in reactivating the quorum so this commission can function. Sad, but I don't know why. This programming conflict in future about the gymnastic program should have been brought before the Park and Rec Commission for public review, problem solving. It obviously was not, because it wasn't functioning. How is this getting resolved? First of all, they did not consider putting it on the city council agenda. Didn't happen. No reason. Another option, let the new director handle in-house. That was partly done. Another option, let the city attorney declare there was a probable likelihood of a suit involving the city and putting it into a closed session, which was done. This issue is full of troubles and problems. It's a mess. If only the Park and Rec Commission was functioning, the standard, reasonable approach the city takes to such challenges could have happened. Public involvement, transparency, and potential resolutions. It's so sad. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
No more raised hands, Mayor.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much. Before we move on to discussion, let's take a brief break. And I would just like to, well, council, are you good?
My only hesitation is that there's so many children.
Okay,
How
all right.
do the parents want to break, or do you want to continue?
Good. Okay. All right. Okay. Great. And I just would like to thank all of the young people who spoke at the meeting. We're really grateful for you, and it's just great to have you participating in local government. So thank you. All right. Well, who would like to begin? Councilmember Lang.
Okay, I'll start. And I want to just second thank you to all of the young people who spoke. Wow, if every city council meeting were like this, we'd have, I mean, this is just, it's awesome to see so many people coming out. I felt like that moment in the movie The Grinch, where the Grinch's heart grows 2-3 sizes too big. So you all are awesome. And especially you little girls. So I just have, I know that we're going to talk about the business of this, but I just wanted to say, to start off with, that I am this quarter the council liaison for the Arts, Parks and Rec Commission, and I have been in conversations with the chair, and we are moving forward as fast as we can. And I've had an opportunity to really dive into this topic and hear all the different perspectives and different sides. And I really want to thank our awesome parents for the parents group for sitting down and meeting with each one of us and preparing documents. And this is the most organized coalition of people. And it's like, we were sitting there and we're like, wow, women, moms really should run the world. And so I want to start with saying that there's a lot that we've learned from this experience. And I can promise that should any programs come up for reconsideration in the future, we're going to handle it a lot differently. And I want to apologize for not having all of the information that we could have had when we were making the decision in the first place. And we have a new staff, and we're really thrilled to have, so much fresh energy and movement forward in the city. But there are a lot of things that we need to tighten up, and so that is a priority. I am inclined to. I wrote down the list that you presented us of the things that you had requested. So leave the program untouched. Return the coaches, reinstitute the coaches, reinstate the OVG and allow the coaches to wear their shirts, and then retain beneficial relationship with the city. And I'm going to hear from my colleagues, but I would be in support of accommodating these requests and looking to see how we can address the liability concerns with the travel. But if it's a matter of looking at other insurance policy options, then that is something that we can bring back for a future agenda item. But it seems to me like we have a program, and you told me in the meeting that we had that there are about 250 kids who participate in this meeting, or in this program, and that to me is just too many kids to let down. I mean, letting down one child is too many for me. So I'm of the opinion, and again, I want to hear from my colleagues, but I'm of the opinion of let's see how we can work together to make it work. Okay.
Just Councilwoman, do you want to put a motion on the table?
Yeah, I'll put a motion on the table to leave the program as status quo, to bring Vicky and Stacy back, to reinstate the OVG, to allow the coaches to wear their shirts, and to retain the beneficial relationship, and to have staff come back at a later time for conversation about, or for insurance options. Go ahead.
And if I could jump in on that, I would respectfully offer that the motion might be to direct staff to engage additional insurance, some of which may be within our existing budget or within the city manager's budget authority, so it may not need to come back to council. We'll obviously have to talk to our insurance carriers. And then second, to add direct staff to prepare a robust participant waiver, acknowledging the inherent risks in the program.
Yes, I would like to add those two things to my
also-
motion.
Yeah, and I just would want to jump in. We do have some existing staff injuries, workers' comp and otherwise, that we have to be mindful of. So
Oh, okay.
we want whatever direction to be in compliance with that.
Okay.
Is there a second for that
I
motion?
just-
Yeah. Well, hold on, just a second.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, Councilmember Rule and then Councilmember
Yeah.
Francina.
Okay, so in looking at this, first of all, I think I need to apologize to the community for how this played out. It was certainly, it was unfortunate that you felt so, not only that you felt, but that you were kept out of the process. And I apologize for that. I apologize for not understanding the breadth and depth of the program, not having kids, and and I appreciate learning about it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I seconded the motion. I also would add to that ways that we can potentially build back trust, which might be figuring out the ways that the city can support building back up the competitive component, because I do understand that it really is a virtuous cycle and circle, in that those who are competing and moving forward are gaining these leadership skills and are passing them back down, the ladder to the kids that are coming up. And that is immeasurably valuable, as is the generational nature of this program. When there's just nothing you can put a value on something that's generational like that. So I totally support that. I think there is no problem here that cannot be solved with, not that I believe in throwing money at problems, but we can throw a little bit, we can figure this out. Okay, we can figure this out, and I would like the parents group and or, potentially other coaches or kids to be part of this process, to work through it. We can figure out, I know that the city manager has some ideas about ways that we can start integrating fundraising so that it's an automatic kind of process where we know the money that's coming in, we know where it went, so that no one is having to keep track, in their little book of, revenue and expenditures, that kind of thing. That can all be handled with bookkeeping software, I'm sure. So I second the motion. I think that maybe some sort of meeting of minds between the rec department, the city manager, the parents group, and whomever else the parents group feels like should be invited to this, so that we can move forward in a really productive and practical way, and the parents and the community can believe that we support this 100%. And that, while I know it's impossible to erase what's happened, but we need to move forward. We can move forward. We can build back a great program. You can have a competitive program. We can figure all these things out. I think really, honestly, other than potentially the closed session, nobody really had any idea. And, fault, mea culpa for everybody. We didn't speak to you to find out. And so there's really no way to get around that except for to move forward and provide you everything that we can possibly provide you to move forward. And your requests are absolutely reasonable. Beyond that, they're good. And so when you think about that, right? So things are a little bit better than they were. We can make them better than we were, and we're committed to doing that. So with that, all the things about, leadership and, the virtuous cycle that all of this brings, I think, is evident and obvious from those who have spoken. So this is solvable, and I would request that, administration solve this. So however they think it needs to be done, we have an attorney, we have the recreation manager, we have the city manager. Let's solve this. Let's make this happen. Let's solve this. And I'm sure there are some things that have not come up tonight that are concerns about this. So let's bring them up and let's figure them out, whether it's a shared use with Oakview, gyms, whatever it happens to be. So let's expand out our understanding and our approach to benefit everybody. And I think that's, we learned a lot from this. Oh, my 5 minutes are up.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you.
Councilmember Francina and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. So I'm very glad that this meeting was recorded, because you have surely educated the whole community. This is a meeting that I think will go down in history. It was both very sobering and illuminating. I applaud and support what my colleagues have already stated. I can assure you that at this very brief, I remember it as a short closed session, we had no idea that it would result in what all the issues that have been raised. But I hope you can see, I'm just so pleased that people felt empowered to state their mind, and I credit you for laughing and taking it like a man. Okay, we are often the recipient of the same kind of criticism. Almost every meeting, half the town's usually mad at us about something. So I'm glad you can take it, and I'm glad it's a learning experience for all of us. So I agree that if there's money that needs to be spent, it's money that investing in our youth. Everybody, I think, agrees that's money well spent. That's health. That's preventative health. It's crime prevention. It's growing healthy, happy children. There's no greater need for that on this earth. That all the problems in the world come down to childhood trauma, as far as I'm concerned. Most of us are working out our childhood conditioning from the top to the bottom on down, right here. Yeah. Yes. So I don't know that we need to waive privilege. If there was anything that was said at that closed session, I think everything's been said, but I don't know how my colleagues feel about that, or that was brought up. We haven't discussed it.
Staff never recommends waiving privilege, but I will note that the gist of the conversation is inherent in page 1.3 and 1.4.
Yeah.
The liability concerns is discussed in the staff report.
Yeah. So I'm just so happy and grateful that I live in a community that cares so much. I raised my own 2 children here, a son and a daughter, and now my grandchildren are being raised here, and they might even be watching this meeting. So, yeah, they know all of you. So thank you so much for caring and speaking out and coming out. I mean, it's so impressive. The doctor flew all the way across the country to support this program. Who can forget this? It's a historical meeting for Ojai. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, so first I want to say that my daughter participated in the rec department gymnastics program. I personally competed in a Valley sports program from age 9 to 17. It was a long time ago. In addition to gymnastics, my kids were enrolled in various Ojai Valley athletic programs. And, I credit my participation in the Ojai sports program as a significant factor in my successes. And I understand the concept of family that arises, multi-generational family. So I don't think that there's been interest on anybody's part to dismantle that. that's my belief. You're entitled to yours. So I learned long ago in my legal practice that no matter how we plan or how hard we work, unexpected problems arise. And I also learned that when problems arise, it's counterproductive to spend time looking backwards to determine who you want to blame. What is most important is that we move forward and fix the problems that we've discovered. City staff has been working to fix a problem. It's a real problem. It's not imaginary. And it's unfortunate how it's played out for the community. And I think we'll learn a lot of lessons from that. But risk management and risk avoidance strategies are something I work on a regular basis in my work, in my profession. And I won't go into detail about this, but I believe that the risk factors that were discovered related to the program, gymnastics, had a very realistic potential for bankrupting the city. And so, but it has never been my thought that we would do away with the gymnastics program. I think there's structural changes that need to be made in how it's operated so that the city isn't primarily responsible if somebody has a catastrophic injury. And there's lots of ways to do that. You know, unfortunately, if we were the county of LA, we'd have a risk management specialist. And they'd have all of this figured out. But we're a little tiny town, and there's nobody on our staff who's labeled the risk management consultant. We're all supposed to know a little bit about it, but we could really use some professional help on how to fix this problem so that we can have a great program, but in the God forbid, horrible accident happens, that the city doesn't go bankrupt. And it's not as simple as to say we buy insurance, because it's really complicated to buy insurance for this. So I hope that we're going to put aside the focus on Mr. Harvey and Mr. Davis, and I guess my face also, and focus on solutions on how to operate a really fantastic gymnastics program, but also protect the city's financial future. So with just a few seconds left, I would like to propose a counter motion that that the city retain a risk management consultant to come in and assess the risks that are created by this program.
Can we have quiet, please? Thank you.
Well, I'll wait till the second round and talk again.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for all the members of the community for coming out. It's been really fantastic to see so much support for our children. And as Danica said, these are our kids, all of us. So thank you very much. And clearly, this program is a huge asset to the community. I was a competitive gymnast in middle school and high school, and I learned a lot from it. It's really wonderful training, and just being resilient and get back on the bars. Just fall off, you get back on. My son was a camp counselor there, and they both played basketball. So I know what a great facility and what a great resource the rec center is in this specific program. And of course, hindsight is always 20/20. We can look back, and that's how we learn. We learn from doing. So looking back, I think all of us would say, yeah, we would do things differently. And I really appreciate those of you who chose not to blame or finger point and just move forward. Like, how can we work together to come up with the best solution? I also want to thank Zoe for bringing up the Buddha. True and kind words really can change the world. So I see this as I see the silver lining, as one of my council members mentioned, that this shows how much our community cares, and moving forward, how we can once again collaborate, and that we can figure this out. The silver lining is that the gymnastics program has gotten an incredible amount of PR. And we had a great presentation. Thank you to the Parents Club. It was really wonderful to meet with you. And we clearly now, the community understands how important this program is. And I also want to thank the staff for looking into this, because I really trust that the intentions were pure, that all we want to do is make things better. And so if we could put aside our focus on any kind of blame and just move forward, and thank you, staff, for working on this. So I also want to thank my council members for showing up, for talking to people, for reaching out to community members. That's what it's all about. So I'm just going to leave it there. So thank you, everybody. I think Councilmember Francina wanted to be next, and then Councilmember Rule.
Well, I do want to say that there's a difference between blame and taking responsibility. And clearly there were issues with the new recreation director that need to be addressed. And if you want to, I don't know if you want to have the opportunity to respond to some of the statements, or if that's appropriate.
The personnel items are not this agenda item.
Well,
this is about the rec program.
So he's sitting here simply to listen, and I that's right. He's not.
And answer questions from the council about the program, but this is not a performance evaluation of Mr. Davis.
Okay, I didn't mean that, but I just thought perhaps he wanted to assure the parents that you've been heard, or whatever. Okay, but I do feel I do want to. I think that we need clarification, because there was 3 points raised on the insurance. Like, the first party responsible was the sponsor, gym liability, and then the USA. I just made a quick note: USA Gymnastics, and then thirdly, it was the city of Ojai.
Right. So I can speak to that briefly. There are levels of insurance here, right? So if you have a competitive meet off-site somewhere else, the first insurer is going to be whatever sponsoring gym, which is going to be the gym that they're competing at. Because USA Gymnastics doesn't own any gyms. They're competing at different gyms around the state and I guess around the country. The gym that they're competing at, whoever owns that gym has some amount of insurance. Then there's USA Gymnastics. They have some additional amount of insurance. Then if it's a City of Ojai program participant, any competent plaintiff lawyer will also sue the city. You sue everybody. Of those 3 levels of insurance, only the city is a taxing entity. Only the city is by definition the deepest pocket of all of those entities. Okay. So if the insurance in those first 2 levels fails or proves inadequate because the injuries, the value, or the damages exceed those levels of insurance, the city is left. We are the only entity with the taxing power, which means we're the deepest pocket always. And we don't have any documentation from that sponsoring gym at the moment of what their insurance is, and or the situation with USA Gymnastics insurance. Does it cover the city if the city is named as additional insured or not? So they're right that there's 3 levels of insurance, but that doesn't mean the city as an institution is protected.
Thank you for that. I think that was really important for all of us to understand. And so my assumption is that if there is still concern, because basically we're making a motion to restore the Ojai Valley Gymnastics, correct? Everything that was on that, there was a slide that showed everything. But if there are still lingering issues, there will be opportunity to address them and see, so that we can thrive, but be aware of risks.
Right. I understood the motion to include a direction to acquire additional insurance as needed to better protect the city. And if I could steal the point while I have the microphone, if there was a discussion about a risk management consultant, that could always be added in under the city manager's authority CJPI also has risk consultants through them,
Yeah.
so we can consult with the people we already have first.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That sounds good.
Okay, Councilmember Rule.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to Mayor Pro Tem concern about risk, risk management, and I wanted to make sure that we did take that into account, and if we needed to hire a consultant, that we did so. If we need to go to our insurance agency, that we did so, that we feel comfortable that we are covered as extensively as we possibly can. There is no surefire anything, but once again, I think that we can bulletproof ourselves as much as we possibly can. So there are ways to do that. I just wanted to add that to either the motion or to the sort of instructions to the city administration and others to make that, protect the city as much as you possibly can.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah. So I just want to clarify because, folks think that we're singling out gymnastics. But, when I swam as a competitive swimmer for 10 years, my parents paid for my coach who worked for a corporation. That corporation was insured, and nobody was liable but the swim team and, potentially the coach, but they were all insured. And when we have volunteer folks who come out and coach or participate in rec programs, we don't give them instructions as our employees that would then make us liable for if they make a mistake during coaching that causes the injury to a child. They'd be considered independent contractors. And, the example of football is brought up. The youth football teams hire a coach. I don't know for sure, but I assume that there's a corporate entity, and the corporate entity would be liable for somebody being injured. So we didn't, speaking for myself, I'm not critical of the gymnastics program because of, anything about it. I think it's a fantastic program. I just want to make sure that, the $10 million in reserves we have. So just so you know, why I'm so concerned is that I've got 2 cases that I'm working on right now, where kids are going to require lifetime care, till they're adults. And those cases are projected to cost $40 million to provide that lifetime care. If the city of Ojai had that type of judgment against it, we would have no, and the fact that somebody's got $1 million in coverage doesn't mean they can't keep coming after us for $40 million. We need to have all the coverage it takes. And I think that it's, because we're taking on this type of risk, I appreciate and will accept, as opposed to making an alternative motion, that we would add to the motion that we have a risk consultant, come in and talk to us. I'm very interested if the parents program would be interested in forming a 501c3 and having the insurance and the employees, run through that. But I think we should wait and hear what a risk consultant says about that first.
Okay, well, I'm going to, can we have quiet, please? And I just want to say, once again, thank you. And yes, it is, as Councilmember Francina said, it's important to take responsibility, and we can do better, and we will do better in the future. And I'm sorry that it caused distress, because that's the last thing we want to do. We are here for the health, safety, and well-being of our community, council and staff, and that really is our motivation. So appreciate you coming out here. And did you have a final comment?
Oh.
No? Okay, we have a motion. We have it.
Was Mayor Pro Tem, were you adding to the motion to work with, to hire a consultant? Is that what I understood?
Yes.
Okay.
And that would be inclusive of
the
hire or use the consultants we already have.
So
through the
right,
risk
we
management.
will start with our insurance authority. We'll present the situation. They may ask us to bring somebody on through them, or they may assign somebody from the authority. Either way.
Okay, thank
Do you accept?
Yeah.
Okay, it's in there.
It sounds
Okay, all right. I think we're ready for the roll call, please.
Do you want me to restate the motion, or perhaps we do for the record?
Okay.
Retain the gymnastics program as is. Restore Vicky Hollingsworth and Stacy, and I forget her last name, Ferguson, as coaches. Restore Ojai Valley Gymnastics and allow the coaches shirts. Maintain a beneficial relationship with the Ojai Valley Gymnastics and the Ojai Valley Gymnastics Parents Group. Direct additional insurance to be acquired as needed. Engage either direct or through the CJPIA, risk management consultant to help in the development of additional insurance requirements and development of additional more robust program participant waivers, all to be mindful of existing workers' comp cases and situations.
May I ask? I didn't hear anything about the fundraising, or did I miss that?
No, you didn't.
the fundraising. It was my no. That is
That would, I
correct.
think, be
That
understood the
was-
beneficial relationship with the Ojai Valley
Yes.
Parents Group.
Correct.
The precise details to be worked through, but it would continue to allow fundraising in a appropriate manner.
And I'd like to add one other thing, if it's acceptable, and that is that we at least commit to making every effort to appoint at least a quorum of our planning commission by the
Park and Rec.
or by the December meeting.
So that one I'm going to suggest is not part of this motion because that's not this agenda item.
Oh, okay.
But I will, as was noted before, already on staff's calendaring for the December 10th meeting is the recreation park seats.
Yes, and we are working on that diligently. All right, well, we're ready for the roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Roll call. Councilmember Lang.
Yes.
Mayor Sticks.
Yes.
Councilmember Francina.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitman.
Yes.
Councilmember Rule.
Yes.
5-0.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your attendance and participation. And any final comments before we adjourn? Okay. Thank you all for a productive meeting. We're adjourned.